Hey everybody, it's Boss Talks episode 111. I have a great guest today for you, Joel Zeff. He is out of, I think, Houston, I believe, Texas for sure. But he is actually a friend of Gregory, who was on the show just a few weeks ago. And Joel is a national speaker, a work culture expert, author, and humorist. He combines all that to put on, well, he does national events, he does keynotes for different companies, bringing humor and really make it a fun environment to learn about how to make it a better place to work and to lead. Really, any kind of company. I know we focus on multifamily here. He does work in the industry for various companies, but he does that for lots of different industries. So it's going to be fun to hear his take on what's going out in the workforce and maybe what some trends that he sees, being that he gets that kind of exposure to various industries as well. So it's going to be a great show. I love the idea of bringing more fun and humor into work. I've learned over the years that it is a lot more fun to work if that's the environment you're in, and just not take things so seriously, you know. So Joel will bring the fun today, but before we get into it, again, I'm your host Evan Happel with Community Boss. We have a great solution for you when it comes to parking, amenities, and mapping. We have you covered, whether it's, you got some issues with your guest parking or resident parking and you need to figure out how to really manage it better. We got some software for you. Make some revenue if you need to or want to, or I mean, who doesn't want to, right? So if you need that in your life, reach out to me and we can make it happen. But today it's about Joel. So let's get to it. Joel, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Evan.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. Now, are you out of Houston or is it
Dallas? I'm in a suburb of Dallas.
So wrong. I know Gary's
so
out of
close.
Houston.
So close. We're same state.
Same state, close by-ish. I mean, it's a few hours. Texas
4 hours.
is big. As I've heard, everybody likes to say everything's bigger in Texas. It's definitely spread out. Right. That's for sure.
I moved to Dallas in 1991. I thought I would be here 2 years, maybe. So I've been here 33. I married a Texas woman, and they don't leave. I didn't know. So,
got it. And where'd you come from?
Well, I was working at a newspaper in Michigan, but I'm originally from Kansas City. So if you want to, we can just spend the next hour talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. If you want. So I'm originally from Kansas City, born and raised, went to the University of Kansas. And my first job out of school was in Michigan, outside of Detroit, at a newspaper. And then I was brought down to Dallas to work for the Dallas Times-Herald, which closed 6 months after I joined. It was not my fault, Evan. A lot of people blame me, but it wasn't my fault. But the paper did close 6 months after I joined.
Yeah, I mean, you probably shouldn't tell people
that. That's true. I just tell people, it's like, look, I was 23. Couldn't have been my fault. I think they had I think the wheels were already moving before I got there. And I don't know why they wanted me to jump on board the Titanic as it was leaving the dock, but I did.
I mean, there's a lot of newspapers that haven't fared well in the digital age. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, this was 1991. This was before digital. This was.
Okay. All right. Well,
this was the other newspaper. Yeah. This was the other newspaper buying it out and just demolishing the competition. And when I say demolish, they literally demolished because they knocked the building down.
Wow. So nobody we don't want you.
Nobody could go into that building and start the printing presses again. They literally demolished it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Control the market, We don't want competing news organizations because we wouldn't want the news to be, fair and independent. And
yeah, there was 2 newspaper town, and then the morning news bought out the Times-Herald. So I was out of work in December of 1991.
Okay. And like you mentioned, so you're from the world of the Chiefs. So do you still embrace them?
Oh,
in
I
Dallas?
live and die. I'm going to go to the game on Sunday in Kansas City. I'm taking my son.
Okay.
We're going up there for the game. Yeah.
Do you dare wear the Chiefs colors? Do you have a jersey? Are you like full on, hey, I'm in Dallas, I know I might be putting my life at risk?
No, there's actually a lot of Chiefs fans here because Mahomes is from Texas and he went to Texas Tech. And so actually all my Texas Tech friends are huge Chiefs fans because they're Mahomes fans. And then he played high school ball in East Texas. And so actually you see there's a lot. In fact, there's a new entertainment location called Cosm, COSM, and they have this, it's like this huge dome IMAX where you're viewing it like you're watching the game, and it's incredible. And so we went on Monday. The place was packed full of Chiefs fans watching the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
we probably lost a few viewers and listeners when we started talking about the Chiefs. We're like, I'm done. Click. I thought we were going to talk about multifamily or having fun at work. Click.
This doesn't sound very fun.
I don't know. I don't like the Chiefs. Click.
Yeah. I guess we should probably. I mean, I don't want to, completely lose the listener base. So maybe we should move on. Yeah, no, they're doing well. I mean, what are you going to do? Like,
they are.
They're the last man standing on the undefeated. So
yep.
That's not where I'm at. I'm with the Seahawks, and we're rebuilding. Right? We got a new coach, so yeah.
Hey, I'm in my golden era. I know it. It's not gonna last forever. But there's a time. But believe me, there's a time when the Chiefs were terrible, and I spent a lot of money watching them lose. And now this is my time, and we're gonna.
And it has to be an era because it is Taylor Swift's team. So
it is. It is. I actually I was a couple weeks ago at the Chiefs game in Las Vegas, and Travis Kelce's mom was having breakfast 2 tables away from me, and I wasn't going to bother her because I don't like to do that. But the friend I was with, who's a Bears fan, he could care less. He walked in. He said, "I'm going to the bathroom," and he walked by her table and said, "Hey, I have a friend that's a huge Chiefs fan. Can he take a photo?" And I guess she said yes. I don't know what the conversation was, but he yelled my name. He goes, "Zeff, get over here!" And I sheepishly walked over and took a picture with Mama Kelce, and it's kind of a big deal.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm 1 degree. What I'm trying to say is I'm 1 degree away from Taylor Swift. They sat next to me in the game last week. They probably talked about me. She probably said to Taylor, "I was in Vegas. This guy came up to me at breakfast, and I took a photo with him. What do you think about that?" And Taylor probably responded, "I bet he's the author of a new business book." And she probably said, "He is. We should talk about it."
Yeah.
That's probably how the conversation went. That's what I'm guessing.
I would think so. What was your book called? When was it released?
It's called Make the Right Choice. Elevate your team, lead with passion, and unleash the fun at work. And it comes out a week from today on Wednesday, November 13th. Available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy your books. And I'm pretty excited about it. It's a lot of fun, a lot of ideas about teamwork and leadership and change and communication and culture, and a lot of fun ideas that I've discovered along the way at different events that I share in the book, what other companies are doing to promote appreciation or positive support, or what other companies are doing to create a fun work culture. And I'm throwing a bunch of those ideas in the book, and then some of my own ideas, and talking about the choices that we make and how we deal with change and teamwork and leadership.
Nice. No, that's all good stuff. Change is hard, and especially when you're in big companies, right? Like, there's all the different factors. I've been in all sizes, so I've kind of experienced the gamut of like different work environments and cultures, and good and bad and all the things. So I can definitely.
Improv is my background and what I use to talk about these choices and what I use in my keynotes. And so I use improv games on stage during the keynote, bring some audience volunteers up. We play an improv game, laugh, have fun. And then we talk about what choices the audience volunteers made in how they found success during change or how they found success as a team or as a leader or as a communicator. And then we highlight those choices. And that's what the book is all about. We just kind of go through all those choices. Change, you just mentioned. One of the things I talk about is how improv teaches us to embrace change and to be more open and flexible and more prepared for change. Because when we do that, that openness and flexibility, that preparing for change, it sets our tone, it sets our approach and our energy when we're prepared for change. And then isn't so scary. It's easier to embrace and use your skills to how you react to change. That's the key. Change is out of your control, but how you react to change. What are you going to do? What are your choices? How am I going to react? That's really the strength. And you can choose to be frustrated and impatient and stressed, or you can choose to be positive and supportive and helpful. One seems like a better day than the other.
Yeah, you would think so.
You would think.
Yeah. Not all companies probably operate in that fashion, but it's better for the people that work there. That's for sure.
Well, everybody needs to decide, what they want to be fulfilled and rewarded. And we talk about that as well in the book. We all want opportunity and we want positive support. And when we talk about opportunity, that's a little bit different because everybody wants something different to be fulfilled at work. What is that opportunity? It has nothing to do with the culture of what or your leadership or what's going on at work. It's about you. What is it that's going to fulfill and reward you? And it's not more money. We all want more money. That's a given. But that happiness only lasts to the next paycheck. You're right back where you started. What is that opportunity? Do you want more training? That's an opportunity. Do you want to go to a conference? That's an opportunity. Do you want a different role or different responsibility? Or, do you have a creative idea that you want to see move forward with? What is that opportunity? And when you realize that's what you need to be fulfilled, then you have to tell the person you report to, this is what I need. This is what's going to make me happy. And if that person, your manager, does not give you that opportunity, then you've got a big clue. You're in the wrong place. Why would you want to be there? Because you're not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to be rewarded. I promise you, down the street is a company that's going to want someone that is passionate and energized and is striving for opportunity because they want to give you that opportunity. What do they get back in return? A passionate, energized team member that's going to help them reach their goals. It's going to find success. And I don't care what the economy's like. I don't care what's going on, unemployment. Everybody's looking for great people. Everybody is hiring. I've spoken at 2,500 events starting in 1997 to 2024. The economy's gone through several recessions, unemployment shifts, mergers, lots of different changes. And the constant throughout all of that is every one of my clients was hiring, no matter where we were, what the situation was, what year it was. They're always hiring. People are always looking for great, passionate, energized team members. And if you're not receiving that opportunity, not receiving that fulfillment, then you need to find an opportunity somewhere else that you're going to get that fulfillment.
Yeah. So how did you get into what you're doing? I mean, you went from a
newspaper reporter,
yeah, to something that obviously brings you joy and fulfillment.
Yes.
So you're living that out. You've been doing it a while. So how did you even get the opportunity to do what you're doing?
So I was working in the newspaper. When the newspaper closed, I had a lot of free time. So, and a severance check. And so I started doing stand-up. I started doing stand-up at local open mics. And then I also auditioned for an improv group in Dallas. And I was asked to join the troupe. And that troupe had its own theater in Dallas. And so I was really focused on the comedy and improv. It was something that obviously I fell in love with. It was just kind of those moments where you're like, oh, this is an amazing moment, right? And so I really gravitated toward improv and my love for it. And, I put a lot of energy and a lot of time into it. and then for money though, I wasn't making any money at it. I was working at a PR agency, and then I worked at an ad agency. And one of my clients was Texas Instruments, and they knew on the weekends I did improv comedy. And they said, "Hey, we're doing this executive retreat. Can you come up, play some of these improv games with us before dinner?" And I was like, okay. And I took another performer with me. It was by the way, all men. The audience was all men, small group. I think it was probably 20, 25 people, VP level. And so if you're like, what would be the greatest audience ever? VP, men in technology, and a small group before dinner. Yum, yum, yum. And so actually what happened was, and I really don't remember, I remember me having fun. I kind of have this fuzzy memory of it, but I don't remember exactly what happened. But I remember having fun, and I remember they had fun. And I said, well, maybe I could offer this to other clients. And my idea was just like, it'd be small groups and we really focus on creativity. That was it. And I would offer it to some of my other clients. And one thing led to another. And just like anything, your name gets start passing around. And people would call and say, "Can you talk about teamwork?" And, it's like, improv is all about teamwork. Yes. And I would just jump on and just play some improv games. There was no plan, Evan. There was not, I'm going to be a speaker. It's like, if you gave me some gift cards and a hoodie, I was like really thrilled. And so I didn't even ever write down my presentation. I would just jump on stage and play some improv games, or sometimes if it was maybe there wasn't a stage. And, if I did something I liked, I would keep it. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going to use that next time. And it just started to evolve. And I would just do one here, one there. It wasn't a plan like this is going to be my career. And in 1997, long time ago, Evan, I was doing an event for Allstate Insurance, and they said I was speaking at their auditorium. Well, I call that, they called it an auditorium. I called it a lunchroom because that's what it was. It was a lunchroom. I don't know why. It's like, it's an auditorium. I'm like, this is where people eat lunch. So they had a little stage. I guess that's why they called it an auditorium. And I had a production company record it. And we edited a little video, a little demo video, started sending it out, and started getting some speaking events. And one thing just kept going to another thing. I did a lot of pro bono, giving it away. And then by 99, 2000, it had pretty much taken over my business. And I was a speaker. And I just kept down that path, doing something a little bit at a time to build, to grow. And then here I am talking to you on Boss Talks.
That's right. The peak of your,
that was the plan.
Probably, I mean, I know this didn't exist back then, but you knew someday you were going to land on this show, Boss Talks. Yeah. It was going to be the pinnacle of your career. I mean, you've made it.
This is it. This is it. I'm not doing any more after this. We're closing down shop.
That's right. That's right.
But I love it. The key is I love it, right? Yeah. And it fulfilled me, and it was rewarding. I love, as my wife says, I love making people laugh. I love telling people what I think. Somehow I figured out a way to do both and make a living. And I love learning about different cultures, different work cultures, seeing different industries. I know a little about a lot of industries, and just seeing how people interact and what they do and what they talk about. Earlier this week, I did an event for a software company, and they make software for agencies that deal with public housing, right? So government agencies, anybody that is in that public housing, affordable housing space, they make a software for that. So most of their clients were, government agency type that deal in that. And, it was fascinating that, next week I have another software group, and then I have an insurance group. And a couple weeks ago, I was with a Texas state agency for adult protective services. And, I've worked with big companies like Motorola and Quaker and Walmart and McDonald's. And, it's great to see what they're doing and the culture. And then you have a lot of different other associations. And so it's fascinating to learn about all these different industries. And like you mentioned, I do a lot in multifamily, and I love speaking to multifamily audiences. They are so fun, energized. I could, if I just did multifamily, I would be thrilled.
All right, you hear that, folks?
Yeah.
Maybe we need to
Yeah.
inject some fun and humor into some of these local
Yeah.
affiliates. You fly around, right? You're not
Yeah.
afraid of airplanes.
No. And so I have actually for next year, 2025, I'll be speaking to the Apartment Association of North Carolina.
Okay.
And this year I spoke to the Apartment Association of Virginia. And, I speak to a lot of different companies like Camden, Greystar, American Landmark, Asset, Essex, just throwing them all the stones. Anyone, any name, any multifamily that has stone in their name, I've worked with them. There's a lot of that have stone
He's
in there.
name he's name dropping the stones. So
The stones,
that
all the stones,
yeah,
all the
yeah,
stones.
yeah.
Birch stone, cornerstone, milestone, all the stones.
Well, I must say it's impressive that you've done so many events. Like it at some point it must just become second nature for you that this is just you get up there, you have a kind of a formula, so to speak. And the nice thing is that it's so based in improv that you don't have to like have a canned thing, although it's a formula, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's creative, it's an opportunity where you see something different each time. It's not like it would be the same outcome all the
Yeah.
time.
Well, it's always very customized. So,
Yeah.
really focused on the messages. If we really want to focus on teamwork or leadership or change or a combination or communication, innovation. And then I'm going to do a series of improv games. Like, let's say if I speak for an hour, I'm going to do 3 games. And I'm
Mm.
going to bring up 9 audience volunteers. We're going to play an improv game. So that right there, have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be completely different than what happened last week or the week before because it's different volunteers and we're playing this game and it's improv. And then we're going to talk about some of the messages. And I really try to keep things very organic. I have what I like to talk about and I want to focus on that, but I like to really work with the audience and just kind of see where they're, what they're really interested in and what they're really inspired and energized by, and really focusing on those messages. Sometimes it's teamwork, sometimes it's leadership, sometimes we really want to talk about change. It's really about what's going on in the context of the whole event and then that industry or that client. And so I really try to keep things, every one of my sessions is going to be completely different than previous sessions.
Yeah. So when it comes to multifamily, what is there a trend as to what people hire you for? Is it the same across the board? Is it different? What's
Well,
kind of what are some things you've noticed
yeah,
within the industry and what people are really
sure.
wanting?
Well, certainly when you bring me in, we want to have fun. We want to create some energy, and I think if you're doing, let's say, I'm not talking about the associations, but individual companies, people are going to gather for their leadership conference or their GM conference, or maybe it's a management conference, or maybe it's an all staff. Sometimes companies that have a certain size bring in everybody, and change is always a big topic, I find. There's tremendous amount of change, competition, maybe the economy, maybe there's a different government regulation in their area or state. So change is a big one. How to find success during change and disruption. And we really talk about being prepared for change and being open and flexible. And like I said, embracing change. That's what improv teaches us. And I think teamwork is a huge part of that too, because, in that multifamily environment, you have maintenance, you have marketing, you have all the different, you have leasing, and everybody's kind of in their individual communities. And then you have corporate, And so everybody really needs to communicate and work well together to find that success and to find that energy and that spirit. So teamwork and leadership are, I think, are really big elements, and then certainly communication, because, especially when we're talking to, whether it's a potential resident, or talking to current residents, or it's a property manager talking to maintenance. There's a lot of communication. We want to make sure that we are effective and positive and understanding and patient, and that's always going to lead to success.
And how do the games that you have them kind of work through encourage these ideas?
So in a keynote, I'll bring some people up to the stage. We'll do an improv game, and it's really just kind of showing visually, here's the choices they made. For instance, we'll talk about teamwork. Here's the choices that they made. And one of the key elements that make teamwork successful in improv is asking a question. How do I help the people around me be successful? That's an easy question. And then answering that question, and more importantly, acting on it. And so I'm going to play an improv game. For instance, I like a game where two people are puppets and two people are puppeteers. And the two puppets, they can't move. And they're going to do a little scene together. Let's say maybe they're at a restaurant and they're chefs. And so the two people are behind them and they're moving their arms and moving their legs and moving their head. Really funny. You never know what's going to happen. A lot of chaos, a lot of disruption. But it's a teamwork game. The puppeteers have to move the puppets. The puppets have to listen to each other. The puppets have to build on each other's conversation. And so what they need to do is ask that question. How do I help the people around me be successful? So think about, in a multifamily situation, is marketing, is leasing, is maintenance, or is the assistant manager, the property manager, are they all asking the question, how do I help the people around me be successful? And then answering that question and then acting on it. And when you send it out there, it's amazing what comes back. And that really is the key to successful leadership and teamwork, is just asking that question. And how do you know what everybody needs to be successful? Is being present, being in the moment. And that's a key part of the improv games. And in the moment, improv forces us to be present. And when I'm talking about that, that means we're only thinking about the game, the objective, the team. Improv forces us to be present. And so when we're working in our communities, no one's forcing us to be present. But don't you think we're going to be more successful when we're communicating to that resident, or that potential resident, or to maintenance, or if maintenance is communicating to the assistant property manager? Are we really present and in the moment with each other and listening to what we need, so that we can ask and answer and act on that question? How do I help the people around me be successful?
Yeah. And I would imagine, like, when it comes to improv, everything is based on what's being thrown at you, whether it's an idea or a situation. Just the idea of improv seems like it'd be very helpful to make you think on your feet, to be able to be, like you said, flexible. What are the, I guess, key takeaways when it comes to improv specifically, and like helping people
Sure.
in their job?
Right. Well, improv's super fun.
Yeah.
That's one. So it's easier to learn when you're having
Yeah.
fun. When you're playing, you're not even realizing that you're learning these really awesome messages and choices. And improv was originally created to teach. It was created at NYU in the late 30s, early 40s by a woman named Viola Spolin. And she created improv because you are more open. You're more engaging when you're playing a game. And so it's the same concepts when I use those games, whether it's a keynote, and sometimes it's a workshop. Sometimes I come in and I'm going to speak to, 40 managers, and the exercises are quite different than what they would be in a keynote. And we sometimes the games are pair up, or sometimes there's groups of 5, and all the games are about embracing change and working together as a team and communicating and leading. And so the big takeaways are, as far as change, being open and flexible, being prepared. We just talked about teamwork. And it's also about creating opportunity for each other. We talk about asking that question, how do I help the people around me be successful? But we're creating opportunity and then we're matching it with positive support. One of the first games I play, I want to show the audience that I gave these 3 people opportunity and the audience gave positive support. And when you put those 2 things together, it's pretty amazing what people can accomplish, because what we saw, what was demonstrated, was great teamwork, great communication, great creativity, great leadership, same concepts that have to happen in the communities, right? Same concepts that have to happen. And it was immediate, all because I gave them opportunity and the audience gave them positive support. So the question is, for the leaders that are watching or listening to us, is, are you giving the people around you, your team, that opportunity? And sometimes you have to ask, what is that opportunity? What do you need here? We talked about that earlier. Do you want more training? Do you want more? Do you want a different role? Do you want a different responsibility? And as a leader, once you ask that and you give them that opportunity, and then you match it with positive support, it's amazing what you're going to get back in return. And those are just a couple of the concepts that I talk about. In communication, we talk about being more detailed, right? And creating a partnership when we talk about communication, defining constant communication, being a positive communicator. So we talk about a lot of different elements, a lot of different choices that allow each of us to be successful.
Nice. And one of the things that you seem to talk about too is just innovation and how this can help in that way too. So how does this all encourage innovation? I love innovation. I love thinking outside the box personally. So what is it about all this that does that?
And sometimes when people say innovation, they think it's this big deal. We got to come up with these huge
Right,
ideas. And it's just
right,
problem solving. It's
right.
just people are innovative every single day. We're just problem solving.
And
We
it
have a
doesn't mean
problem.
you need to like come up with something new. It could be that you grab a few things that are existing that help problem solve or do whatever. Yeah.
Right. And improv does teach us some elements that will help us problem solve. One is to don't make rules where rules don't exist. Expand the possibility box. I played this game the other day with a group, and it's last letter. It's called last letter game. We're in a circle, and I say an animal, and then you have to come up with an animal that starts with the last letter of the animal that I said. So if I say tiger, you have to come up with an animal that starts with an R, and we go around the circle. And people struggle. That's the whole concept. They struggle because you can't reuse animals. And what I'm trying to teach them is, you're creating rules where rules don't exist. I didn't say you couldn't put an adjective in front of the animal. You can make up animals, right? There's lots of different ways to solve the problem. And so improv is trying to teach us to expand the possibilities, right? We're looking for the best choice possible in how we innovate. And we want to build on each other's idea. We want that energy to build. And so if you have an idea, Evan, I want to be positive and supportive. I want to build on that idea and work together. And we just keep building, keep building, keep building. And we want to create an energy that we're going to find a solution for whatever challenge or obstacle that we have.
No, that's good. Yeah, you always want to build on that, and all the problem solving that I've ever come across, like people that stick with what they know and they're like inflexible, not willing to like take on new ideas.
Right.
It creates its own problem. It also doesn't move anything towards being more innovative or
Right.
or figuring it out.
Right. And it's about being open and flexible to that change. Right. So if you have an idea, I need to be open and flexible to your idea. Now, I'm not saying that that's the idea that's going to work, but I need to be open and flexible and build on it or work with you. And that openness and flexibility is what allows improv to be successful. And you see people together on stage, they're trying to solve a problem. They're trying to get from point A to point B, and they're trying to make it entertaining. And so that openness and flexibility is a key concept of how we are creative and how we work together as a team and find that success. And so, but before we're open and flexible, we have to make the choice that we're prepared. And when we're prepared for change, change is going to happen, whether we like it or not. It's going to happen. And it's how we react to that change. That's the difference. And so that openness and flexibility, and then allowing ourselves to be prepared for change. And that changes our attitude, changes our approach, our energy when we're prepared for change. When I ask audience volunteers to come up on stage, they've made that choice at their seats. They're prepared. They don't know what game I'm going to ask them to play, what their role is going to be, what their responsibility is going to be, but they made a choice to be prepared for change. And that sets the tone and allows them to be successful. And it's really awesome to see that, because nobody gets frustrated and nobody gets impatient, and they're focused on the game and their team and the objective, and they're allowed, and then they find that success.
Yeah. Is there often times where things go awry when it comes to bringing somebody up there?
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Sometimes it's funnier when there's just complete chaos and disruption. But it's also, we're learning with that as well. And one of the messages, whether we talk about teamwork, communication, creativity, one of the great messages about improv is staying in the game. And what does that mean? Stay in the game. Well, it just means what it says. All right. It could be chaos. Somebody could be just they don't know what they're doing, don't know what's going on. But if you stay in the game, we're going to find a level of success. We can't give up. We can't quit. We can't walk off stage. We can't say, I can't do this. We have to stay in the game. So let's take it to our communities. What does staying in the game mean? We have goals and objectives. We have challenges. As long as we stay in the game, we're going to find success. Might not be tomorrow, might not be next week, might not be next month, but the success will be there if we stay in the game. And that's hard to do sometimes, because that means you might have to learn something new. You might have to get out of your comfort zone. You might have to try something different, work harder. It's hard, but success is there. Let's say we want 100% leasing, right? And I'm sure that's the goal for everybody that's listening. And we're going to be there. We're going to get there. No matter what the tough situation might have, competition, there might be a lot of different reasons why you're having a hard time or you're struggling. So what are the choices that you have to make to stay in the game to get to that 100%? Do you have to invest some money? Do you have to do something different in how you communicate to the market? Do you have to come up with some new ideas in how you advertise? What are you going to do to stay in the game? And that's the key. When we stay in the game, success will be there. If we quit, we failed, guaranteed. And I'm not saying quit our jobs, but we quit challenges or obstacles. We quit things all the time because we don't have the money, we don't have the budget, we don't have the time, we don't want to learn something new, we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. But to stay in the game, success is going to be there if we make those choices.
No, absolutely. So what is it outside of multifamily that you see kind of a common occurrence of why they bring you in, things you may have learned, takeaways, things that maybe we can learn from when it comes to other industries?
Right. It's all very similar as far as why a company or a client would bring me in. Certainly it's about energy and fun. And that's what, the book, Make the Right Choice, part of the subhead is Unleash the Fun at Work. And we have to make sure that our people are having fun, and we are creating energy and we're inspiring them. And fun is different for lots of different people. Fun means lots of different things. And so what is fun to your team? And I'm part of that. Companies will bring me in because they want to create that fun and energy. It creates a spirit, and that spirit leads to success. And so what are we doing to unleash the fun? And in the book, I give lots of ideas. Let's just talk about appreciation, right? Some of the ideas that I saw, it's as simple as, we all know about like thank you boards or appreciation boards, and if you don't have one of those, you should definitely put something together where it's in the break room, and there's a board and people can put a note or a thank you or somebody did a great job. one time I was at an event and they called it tip of the hat. And they started every meeting, whether it's a big meeting where they bring all together or it's just a team meeting of 5, 6 people, and they have to tip of the hat, which means someone has to say to somebody else, hey, I appreciate you for doing this. And it's just those little things that go so far. People want to be appreciated. Those are just, a couple ideas to create that energy and that fun and that spirit. Sometimes it's, I think a great way to have fun is doing give back. Going to your local charity nonprofit and helping them. If it's back to school, putting backpacks together. If it's around Christmas, doing a toy drive. Or helping people get rid of brush or mow the lawn or paint the house. A lot of my clients will do those things or go to the food bank and pack up boxes around the holidays or Thanksgiving. And a lot of my clients will do that as part of their event and then part of, just their everyday. And, and it creates fun. It creates a spirit. And when you do things together, we respect each other, we create a partnership, and it's really a really way of making sure that we find success through teamwork and find success through fun.
Yeah, for sure. So on a day-to-day basis, and maybe this is in your book, obviously there's the board, which is great. We have something similar with our company. We're all virtual,
Mhm.
so we have a channel in our Slack that's dedicated to kudos
I love
and
it.
just giving people, pat on the back and
Yeah.
good job on whatever they're doing. So we do that, which is great. It's a great way to shout out people and let them know they're doing well. Um, what is some things that you've seen or maybe are games that could be
I lost you, Evan. Evan froze.
hello?
Evan,
Yes, here I am again.
you left me.
My internet didn't like what I was saying. So
I I guess I could have just kept doing the show without you.
well, anyways, what are some games or
I think you're asking about games. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about those games. I use a lot of different games as people are watching Frozen Evan.
yeah.
Uh, you know,
I see what
so
this is. You're just gonna take over. I got
I'm
it.
just gonna take over, and when you come back, we'll do it. But some great games for teams to kind of create that energy. I play a game that I talk about in the book. I'll give you one. It's called Zig, Zag, Zog. And so if I say zig, then the group will say zag. If I say zag, the group will say zog, but you have to clap and you don't know whether I'm going to say zig, zag, or zog. And that's a great team game, kind of an energy game to do. The other day, I played a game where it's called Know It All, and people ask questions one word at a time. A great way to do it with a team is to have everybody pair up And each pair can only say one word at a time, and they find another pair and they have a conversation one word at a time. So this pair might say, "How are you?" And this pair might say, "I am fine." And then they have a conversation. That's a really fun game to play with as a team, or to kind of start the day, or just have a little fun. All the games are about fun and laughter. And in the book, I kind of go through them in detail and things that you can do. You asked me for some of the ideas that other clients are doing. And one of those is one of my favorite ideas. I came in and this client had this big painting, and each square on the painting was somebody, was a different piece of art. And what they did was they bought this huge canvas and they made squares, and then each person in the office painted one of those squares. And so you had this incredible painting that represented all the people in the office. Hi, Evan.
Hello.
I was taking over. Boss Talks with Evan, with Joel. Boss Talks with Joel. Pretty sure everybody's good. Is anyone still in the show, or they've all left when it went black?
Oh, no. If anybody's watching, they're still here.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
So you were talking about great ideas. I was talking about, had this client had this big painting, and the painting had squares, had like 18 squares. And what they did was they bought this huge canvas and made squares in the canvas, taped off squares. And then each person on the team would paint one of those squares, with whatever they wanted that reflected them, or, made it personal for them. And so they had this awesome painting that represented all the people on their team. And it was kind of a focal point. Everybody who walked into the office would ask and say something about the painting. Now, obviously, some of those people moved on to other jobs, but it was a conversation starter, and it brought everybody in the office, everybody in the team together. And then it was also this team project where everybody did it together. And that created that teamwork aspect. And then you're painting, 4 people could paint at one time, and you're connecting with that person. And maybe you don't work on a project normally with that person, but now you're connecting with that person because you're both painting, and it really connects and brings people together. I'll tell you another, one of my multifamily clients, I don't know if I can mention their name, but I won't unless you tell me that I can.
You're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, they have skit night. They have skits.
Okay.
Right. And so at their annual conference, they have skit night, and like each region will do a skit, and then every other year they'll change the region. So not everybody has to do a skit every year. So, and then what they have to do is they put the skit on the first night of their conference, and it's got, lip sync. Some of them have video. Some of them do like a dancing thing. It's like a America's Got Talent kind of thing. And it was awesome. And, I remember talking to some of the leadership, and skit night's super fun, but that's just the sprinkles on the cupcake. The cupcake is everybody working together on skit night, before skit night. And so what happens is it brings people together, and you connect with people, and you're working on something work related, but it's not work. And you have these connections, you build this bond, you create respect for each other. And that is all going to pay off the next time you have to work together, the next time you have to do a project together, because you're going to remember that fun that you had putting together the skit for skit night. And it was one of the best things I ever saw. I had another client that did, like, during their conference, they would do a talent, kind of this talent thing. And different people from the company, some people would sing and juggle, play, guitar or whatever. It was awesome. I've seen that a couple times. Recently, I saw it with a pharmaceutical company, and it was same thing, first evening, and people got up and they shared their passion. And I'm telling you, everybody in that company was connected by listening to all the people that were sharing their passion. Some of it was talent, and some of it was, I knit sweaters, and here's some of the sweaters that I knit. And you're sharing what you love. And when you do that, you really make that connection. It was awesome. I don't know if I did tell the skit night story in the book. I don't know if I told the talent story, but that was really awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I think, these are just great ways to kind of sprinkle in some fun elements. I mean, if you ask me, even big conferences like Apartmentalize could utilize stuff like this because so much of it is just listening to a couple people all the time. And it's like, you got 12,000 plus people that are at this event. And it's very much just a sit and watch situation.
Yeah.
Not very interactive.
Right.
So
And that's a great point. And that's why a lot of clients bring me in, is because my sessions are interactive and they're engaging. And so whether I'm doing a keynote, I'm going to do stuff with the whole audience. The whole audience is going to get involved. Whether I'm speaking to, I spoke to a couple months ago, 8,000 people. I was doing things and the whole audience got involved. It is not about you sitting there and just listening. That's a great point. I want it to be interactive. I want it to be engaging. I think that's when people learn. I think especially today's world, people want that edutainment. They want to be entertained. They want it to be engaged. They want to participate. They want to participate. They wants to be interactive.
Right.
So we got to find ways to do that. And even if I have, groups of 200, 300, 400, I'll find ways to do things with that we can pair up, or we can do things and engage the audience. And that engagement is about connection. And I know I've talked about connection a lot, but that's what we want. We want that connection. And part of it is creating positive support and opportunity. And all these choices are about connecting. And when we connect, that's when we really have that successful team.
Yeah, no, that's great. So which companies did the skit night? I'm curious.
Skit night, multifamily, that was Camden.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was
Camden,
that so Gary seems to know about it. Was Gary there when that was going on?
Did Gary?
He's I don't know if you're seeing it, but he has some comments. If you look on the upper right corner comments, Gary's been chiming in. So
Yes, Gary. Thank you, Gary. It was Camden. Yeah, skit night was the best. And I hope they still do it. Gary could probably, I don't know. I haven't.
Well, Gary's not there anymore. So
yeah, Gary's not at Camden. Yeah. But yeah. I would think they still do it. It was awesome. First of all, incredibly entertaining. And it just kicked off the conference in an amazing way. But what I got out of it was everybody has to participate. And when you put the participation and you work on something together, it just it creates this energy that is just awesome. And it was one of my absolute favorite evening events I've ever seen in all my events.
Well, I mean, so my company, not very big. We have 2 years running, had something called Boss Fest where we get the whole company together, 23 of us. And a couple things that are fun, but having things and activities really do help together and to drive getting to know one another, especially in this like very fragmented, remote working environment.
Yeah, right. It's just it's
frozen?
fun.
Am I gone? Is it me still?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Pushing my luck here.
Evan needs to work on his Wi-Fi. It is about fun, and it's about engagement. And when we have fun, we're going to be happier. We're going to be more fulfilled. And it's about creating that fulfillment for the people around us, for our teams. Oh, Evan's gone. Well, so now that I've taken over Boss Talks, my book comes out November 13th. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target. If you're looking to to buy multiple copies for the whole team, I have a special deal. Evan, I've already taken over Boss Talks. You can
That's right.
go. So I was talking about my book that's available
Okay.
on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, Make the Right Choice. And special deal for everyone that mentions Boss Talks. If you buy 25 or more copies of the book for the whole team, I will do a free Zoom call or Teams, or we'll get Evan with his Wi-Fi. He'll put something together. StreamYard. So I'll do a virtual discussion about the messages or about the book, or we can have a virtual keynote, whatever you want to do. If you purchase 25 or more copies, again, the book's available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, or you can go, my favorite bulk book purchaser place to purchase the books is Porchlight Book Company. They give you a great discount when you buy bulk.
Nice. Well, thanks for sharing. I'm sure you said some great things about your book.
I did.
No, I'm actually intrigued. I think it'd be good to get a copy and check it out. And maybe, I'll get a box for my team of 23 here at Community Boss.
23, I'll allow the free Zoom call. 23
okay.
For you, Evan, free Zoom call.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could just buy 25 and give 2 away or something,
No, Evan, you do 23.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. And more information on the book on my website, which is just my name.com, joelzeff.com. And would love to, I love speaking to multifamily. Love the energy, love the people. And I have a couple coming up in 2025 with some other multifamily companies. And like I mentioned, the Apartment Association of North Carolina and Apartment Association of Greater Dallas. I will be with them for the 4th or 5th time emceeing their Sapphire Awards, which is
nice.
Yeah. You talk about appreciation. I love being part of awards programs and appreciating people and being part of that as they win an award for all the awesome work that they do.
Nice. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Joel, I don't want to push our luck anymore because apparently the internet is not my friend today. And this hasn't been a problem for me in quite some time. So I'm really sorry that this is the day. But at least you're somebody that can roll with it, right?
Yeah, I didn't know what we were doing. Well, there were a couple seconds I just kind of stood there. And I was like, I don't know what we're doing. So we'll edit that out in post.
Yeah. We'll be all right. Yeah. Well, Joel, I really do appreciate it. And I hope some people would check out your website, joelzeff.com. Check out your book. Again, that is Make the Right Choice, Lead with Passion, Elevate Your Team, and Unleash the Fun at Work. Coming out in a week, right?
Yeah. Wednesday, November 13th. Buy your copies. Let's pre-order.
Yep. Say Boss Talks, and you'll get some freebies. Buy 25 copies, and he'll do a Zoom call with your team. Bring some fun to your workplace. So that's fantastic.
Love to do that. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Joel, for that. Just like Joel jumped in and so many before him, this is episode 111. So roll of the dice, though. Apparently the internet may or may not work for me, you, I don't know. But we nonetheless will make it happen. We will improvise in the midst of problem solving the internet as much as we can, obviously. But if you jump on with me, I guarantee that you'll have a good experience, and I will do my best to elevate you and bring you to more people within this industry of multifamily so that people can see why you're the boss and why you are somebody that has a great story to tell, something to share with the world of multifamily to make this a better industry. So reach out to me, regardless of your position. All people deserve to be a boss in this light of multifamily. So this has been Boss Talks, episode 111. Check me out next week and we'll continue rolling with another great guest. And again, thanks for watching.
Thank you, Evan.